Not long ago, I reviewed Desert Race Adventures, a strategy game with a real emphasis on resource management. While I appreciated what it was doing and I liked the unique approach to the genre, it had this annoying side effect where it made me actually want to play a real rally racing game. And that's when I remembered that hashtag Drive Rally recently graduated from early access to a full release. What perfect timing! So, with my appetite whet for rally racing and a desire to catch up with a game that I missed earlier this year, I'm excited to finally have a chance to review hashtag Drive Rally, the debut racing game from developer Pixel Perfect Dude. What we have here is a throwback game inspired by the overhead racers of the early 1990s. It's the kind of game that is modern enough to take advantage of multiple camera angles and realistic car physics, but still with one leg firmly planted in the past. It doesn't have a story or flashy graphics or a massive open world modeled after some exotic location. Instead, what it does is it trades all that for a simple, straight-to-the-point racer that looks good, handles well, and offers a whole lot of fun content. Now, instead of being a racing game where you simply jump from one location to the next, in Drive Rally, the country's tied directly to your racing team. For example, if you choose Emma as your co-pilot, you're going to race through a snow-covered forest, whereas co-pilot Juan will help you out in a bunch of races set in Latin America. As you play through the 6 different campaigns, you'll visit major cities, lush mountain ranges, and of course, small desert towns. While we don't get one massive open world like the Forza Horizon series, you will find that each of the 6 settings are much smaller maps with all kinds of streets, intersections, and surprises. I actually really like this approach as it allows the developer to create a bunch of different races in what feels like realistic maps. Plus, each of these settings has enough variety within its borders to keep it fresh and interesting. For example, the Japanese map balances a large, concrete city, while also having enough room for green fields and multicolored crops. This variety is especially important given how much time you're going to be spending in each of these locations. You see, each of the game's 6 race teams have their own set of events, each with their own cars and prizes to unlock. They all basically play out the same way, with the player going through a bunch of shorter, simpler CL stages, which are followed by the RS events and eventually capped off by the longer and much more complicated XR events. What I like about this structure is that you can freely pick and choose how you want to play this game. If you want to play all the way through one race team's campaign, then you can do that. Or if you want to jump around and try out a bunch of different teams and locations, then that's perfectly acceptable too. No matter how you tackle the different campaigns, you're always going to be earning money and unlocking new cars, which you can drive in both the single player and the multiplayer modes. The only downside is that each of the campaigns plays out pretty much exactly the same way, going from CL to RS to XR, so you may find the game becoming a bit repetitive after the 3rd or 4th trip through the different classes. Now, that's one of the problems that kept me from being more enthusiastic about Drive Rally, but it's not the biggest concern. For whatever reason, I found this game to be shockingly easy, no matter the car, the co-pilot, or the class. Even on the hardest tracks, I was beating the competition by at least 10, sometimes 20 seconds. And since this is a rally race and you never actually get to see the other racers on the course at the same time, it never really feels like you're blowing out the competition. Another problem I had was that the game feels a little slow. On one hand, it does help to fix a problem that a lot of overhead racing games have had over the years, which is giving the players enough time to react to windy and unpredictable roads. However, it could stand to go a bit faster. Now, it is worth mentioning that you can change the camera perspective from the default overhead view to the regular third person and inside the car mode. Unfortunately, those just compound the speed problem. And while I would normally use the traditional third person perspective, so common with racing games, it just feels like this game was made with that overhead camera angle in mind, and it's best that way. Now, on top of the lengthy single player campaign, there are a couple of other modes that are worth talking about. One of them is free roam, allowing you to explore each of the maps at your own leisure. This gives you an opportunity to really appreciate the work that went into making each of these locations. When you're done with that, there's also a party mode that opens up a whole bunch of multiplayer chaos. There are a bunch of fun competitive modes here, though there is no online play, which is a shame. While it certainly has its faults, I found myself drawn back to Drive Rally time and time again. Although a bit on the easy side, the races are all exciting and there's just so much to complete and unlock. Throw in some fun multiplayer modes and you have a solid throwback racing game that does a good job of blending the old and the new. And I don't know about the hashtag, but Drive Rally has a lot of potential as a fun franchise. After a year in early access, Drive Rally has bloomed into a fun little racing game with a lot of content and personality. The 6 different mini-maps are fun to race, and there's all kinds of extras to unlock and buy. Sadly, the otherwise solid experience is marred by an easy difficulty and somewhat slow speeds, but I think that you're still going to have a lot of fun taking parts in the tournaments and playing against your friends in the party mode. Yeah, I definitely want to see more Drive Rally. Hey, thanks for watching my review. If you liked what you saw here, then you should know that we post new reviews and features almost every day. Now, here's the question I have for you. What's your favorite rally racer? While not as common as street, stock, and other types of racing, there are still a lot of great rally racers out there to choose from. I can't wait to see your picks in the comments below. In other news, we're going to be back next week with at least 1, possibly 2 review crew episodes. That's going to include a fun football-themed episode that's going to go live on Thanksgiving Day. While you wait for that, I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then.